Today I'm asked to talk on the criteria 5 to 8. I hope that you have been covered the criteria 1 to 4. Uh, so the basic idea of outcome-based education is made very clear to you. That's what I suppose. With that premise, where in outcome-based education, we look up to the learner as the center of the activities, and his knowledge, skill, attitude, behavior, and capability to take it forward lifelong, etc., as the primary the outcome which we expect out of the learner. And assessing that is what is the entire business of outcome based accreditation. And that's what is the current scenario. Well, in this criteria, I would be talking about the present criteria for accreditation. Why I made that mention is that from 1st January 2025 onwards, there is a slight change in the evaluation criteria, and that in the subsequent slides we'll just touch upon that. Those who are planning to apply after January, they will have to have a very close look at the criteria and the SAR, which is going to be applicable from 2025. It's already published, so it is available on the NBA website. So let's look at, but I understand that the philosophy is almost similar. Slight variation in the weightage is what is done in the modification. And today, in fact, parallelly, there is a session which is going on in Delhi to make the evaluators aware of the changes made in the new evaluation criteria. So without much delay, let's start with criteria 5. So when it comes to criterion 5, normally I put it as the most important criterion in the present scheme of evaluation, because it is the single most criterion which has the largest weightage attached to it. It has around 200 marks as a weightage which is attached to it. It goes without saying that the simple reason is that faculty is the first and the foremost decision-making parameter in respect of the outcome-based education which we are talking about. I normally used to make a statement, even if I don't have and infrastructure, if I have faculty, I make a college. So that is what is the strength with which all of us, the faculty, the academic fraternity should look at this criterion. And that is the precise reason with which the accrediting agency has also attached a lot of weightage attached to it. Incidentally, in the new evaluation criteria, this is going to be divided into two criterion. One is faculty information as 5, and the 6th criterion in the new criteria is going to be faculty contribution. It has 220 marks attached to it in the new criteria. Whatever be the criteria, it is the single most important criterion which has the largest weightage attached to it. So it has the information like one is the sufficiency of the faculty, because when it compared with the learners number, the student faculty ratio is something which is making an evaluation criterion. Then the capability of the faculty members in dealing with whatever is thought over or whatever is envisaged as the outcome. So their competency and capability in dealing with the outcome which is required for is what is looked up to. Then their capability in stretching their professional world or professional activities is something which makes sense there, or their proof of their having spread into research activity, consultancy activity, maybe the proof of it in terms of publications, etc., etc., along with some statutory requirements of cadre ratio and retention of faculty, so on and so forth. And that's how criterion 5 is divided into. When we look at the first subpart of the criterion 5.1, the first evaluation for 20 marks is student faculty ratio. Well, of course, I'm told that some of the participants are from diploma background. For diploma, it has 150 marks weightage for faculty information and contribution. Well, the only point which is going to be highlighted over here is that the evaluator, well, of course, as I have said in the beginning, I would touch upon these criteria. I will not be getting into the hand-holding mode of doing it physically, but the summary of it and what is that the evaluator is expected to look up to, and the what is that which we should be proving is what is already talked about in these criteria. And the information is very simple. The calculation of student teacher ratio is what is the computational activity which is associated here. And at least if some of you have a feeling that the program which is accredited is only going to be considered, it's not like that. If a department is going to be accredited, whatever programs which figure in the department will go into the numerator. All such academic activities, all such number of students which the department is supposed to cater to is going to be considered. The UG programs or the subdivisions in the UG programs. Say, for example, in many of the institutions, say computer science department is having 4 allied programs. One BTech in computer science and engineering, BTech in data sciences, BTech in ML and AI, so on and so forth. If that is the case, all UG programs of that kind, which is to be taken care of by the computer science department, will be clubbed together in working out the total number of students. And the total number of faculty members who are actually present in the department is what is going to be coming in the denominator. Well, of course, whosoever is designated as the first year faculty will be excluded. Am I clear there?
Sir, one doubt, sir.
Please.
This is Vishwanath from Manipal.
Please.
Sir, regarding the number of students, whether it is the number that talks about the sanctioned intake or the students which are on a number of students on roll.
I'm coming to it. It is the sanctioned intake which will be considered. It is not the actual number of students who are actually admitted.
Okay, sanctioned intake. Okay,
it is the sanctioned intake which will be taken as the UG student strength or PG student strength. And it has no relation to what is the number of students actually present in your institute or department.
Okay, sir. What if there is more admission? Say, like we have numeric quota, like 20% extra.
Supernumerary normal. Yeah. Sorry. Please complete.
Yeah. Even in that case, when there is admission number is greater than the sanctioned intake, even in that case also we should consider only the approved intake.
If it is supernumerary seats, then we will exclude those supernumerary seats.
Okay.
And when it comes to, we have another mode of admission which is called as lateral entry,
Yes.
is it not?
Yes, sir.
So in the second year, third year and fourth year, students are being considered as departmental students.
Okay.
First year will be considered against the first year faculty, which we will be going in the criteria 8.
Okay. Sir,
Isn't
now,
it?
yes, sir.
So
Thank you, sir. With
what
respect
is
to faculty for first year,
yeah.
once a faculty is called as a first year faculty, is it compulsory that he should handle only the first year faculty? Sorry, first year courses?
There are still some amount of uncertainty, but the convincing argument is that if a faculty member takes his complete load with the first year, he is completely dedicated for the first year and he will not be counted as available to the departmental academic activity.
So in the case, if
so
he is
in case of say for example engineering drawing, if somebody is offering 4 hours of engineering drawing to the other first year batch, then he would be considered as 25% faculty in first year, and he is available only for his 75% out of 16 hours in the department.
So basically, fractional load.
His fractional load can be counted here in the department.
Okay, sir.
But based on the timetable, you will have to prove the fractional load which you have taken here.
Okay. So similar question when I extend it to PG accreditation. Is there something that within the department some faculty should be reserved as PG faculty exclusively for a given PG program?
For an 18 students batch of PG, we require at least 2 dedicated faculty members for PG. Otherwise, your PG program will not stand approved or accredited.
So that word dedicated means he is to handle only the PG
he or
course.
she would be removed from the departmental UG program availability.
Okay.
Well, of course, if you have a fractional load capability in proving that the entire, because if you do it parallelly, if you do your UG program and PG program parallelly, I mean, don't quote me outside, it's a fairly risky proposition.
Yes, sir.
When most of the time you will fumble in proving their availability at both the places.
Okay.
Say, for example, a faculty member who is taking, say, 8 hours in PG. I'm talking about the assistant professor. But when it comes to a professor with 12 hours of working load and having taken 8 hours, and his availability in the UG program is only for 4 hours.
Yeah.
Out of which you will be showing a timetable in which he is taking 8 hours of project.
Correct. Okay.
So that means his 4 hours of availability to the UG is also gone there. And you cannot show him as a faculty taking an academic load in the UG. So it has to be very clearly, meticulously computed and proven.
Okay,
and
sir.
In which the level of the faculty member is important, and the fractional load computation and proving it on the basis of the academic timetable is very important.
Okay.
I think I'm making sense there.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
The
So further,
fractional load concept is still valid, but most of the time I find that the department is unable to prove it on paper. You will have to have sufficient proof of the academic timetable in which that is meticulously done.
Okay. So further, sir, with the same PG accreditation, suppose I have with the given specialization for the PG program, I have 2 associate professors, and I do not have professors. Can I go for accreditation, sir?
Yeah, PG program, what is actually said is 2 people are to be 18 key strength. In case of the sanction strength of 18, At least 2 people will have to be dedicated, and out of which one should be a professor or an associate professor.
Okay. Okay. So having professor in that particular specialization is not compulsory.
It's not compulsory. It can be an associate professor, because
Yeah.
either or is what is said. It can be a professor or an associate or an assistant or associate professor, or 2 associate professors, or 2 professors, or 1 associate and 1 assistant professor, or
Okay.
1 professor and an assistant professor.
Yes. Yes. Thank you, sir. So one last question, which is
Please.
very curious, because you started with this. Now that ND has come up with a new format from Jan 1st,
January.
2025,
Yeah.
and when I plan for accreditation,
Yeah.
okay, now that the current data what I have is as per the old SAR format,
Yeah.
wherein everything right from course articulation matrix for program articulation, everything was in line with the old SAR, especially with respect to 12 POs.
Uh-huh.
Now, when I plan for the accreditation from after say January 2025,
Uh-huh.
how do I show the data
No,
with
I think.
of the 3 previous years, as applicable for the new SAR?
And I think there is a small misconception there. The
Sir.
philosophy remains the same.
Okay.
Data is always data,
Mm-hmm.
which is not tuned to the philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
The methodology by which, or the weightages which are attached to each of the criterion is changed. Otherwise, there is philosophically there is no change in the new SAR and the old SAR.
No, sir,
Sir,
but
I also have one. I also have one concern. What Dr. Vishwanatha is saying, like those institutes which are already they are preparing you for the last 3 years, 5 years to apply, and in January the POs are also changed. They are now 12 to 11. So all the data is there, no doubt, but all the efforts and mapping the data again into the new concept, that will very there should be some there should have been some bracket time.
Uh,
Now it
from
means you have to cook or you have to manipulate the data of the last 3 to 5 years into the new format.
I would like to recuse myself from offering any comment on the words which you have used, cooking the data or manipulating the data. Basically, ma'am, that is not the philosophy of accreditation. I normally tell people wherever I talk about accreditation, it is only a benchmarking or ascertaining the quality perspective which you are holding in your institution. And most of the time, unfortunately, when it comes to the approval or the accreditation, all of us work towards the compliance mode, and forgetting the background of the entire activity. The entire activity of accreditation is having only one objective, that is the quality perspective. You can always do better than what is prescribed there. What is prescribed there is the bare minimum quality standards across the globe, which people have appreciated. Nevertheless, nothing stops us from having innovative approach in teaching, which can take us to excellence in teaching. Let's forget about the compliance, and all of us are worried about both of these questions belong to the class of or the thinking that compliance is what is accreditation. Accreditation, for your information, is not compliance. It is a path towards excellence. So any mode of activity which we have been doing is not to comply with any of the criterion. I think maybe if I have not answered your question, but I have a very strong reservation on people try to comply with these criterion and then prove it that I'm doing something good. And if that is not happening on the ground, the system will eventually point their fingers uh, unto us. The employers will tell us that you have been fooling us. So let's not look at it from this perspective. Maybe I sound philosophical, but this is a philosophy. Let us be honest enough to accept that. This is no compliance. All of us have approval. All of us have approval from AICTE. I'm not downgrading AICTE, which has certain benchmarks. Your classroom should have, fortunately, in many of the activities which I have been associated with AICTE, I found if the classroom size is required to be, what is the size required? 60 meters square, isn't it? Is it not? AICTE approval.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
66 meters square.
Sorry, 66 meters square. All institutions invariably will have classrooms of 66 meters square. And I normally tell myself, how stupid are we? If the system says I will have to have a classroom of 66 meters square, everybody will say that I have a classroom of 66 meters.
That is to be minimum criteria. Nobody stops you.
Yeah, exactly. That is what I am trying to make it. All these criteria, even in accreditation, is what is said as the minimum benchmark to prove our standing towards the excellence. Say, for example, in NITs, I'm told that Raipur NIT is there. Government of India has given them an approved student faculty ratio of 12:1. And if you take IITs, they get a student faculty ratio of 10:1. And all of us try to just hit onto the criteria of say 15, so that I get 20 marks. That is not the philosophy. If my learner, the student, is taken care of by the number of faculty members, or he is facilitated, that is what is the philosophy in even in accreditation. Am I answering your question, or I'm sounding too philosophical?
No, sir. It's okay, sir.
Okay. So what is said over there is that in the changed SAR, I'm finding you don't need to worry about whatever activity which we have done, fit it into this criterion, you are very much there. Nothing is substantially changed, but in the progress of the practice of the different criterion, people have found that some of the criteria which are presented, say for example, your the activities like facilities and technical support have been overemphasized to no purpose which is served. And some of the criteria happen to be too subjective in nature, where the objective evaluation was difficult proposition. And that was the precise reason why these new criteria are framed and implemented. But I don't think there will be any practical difficulty in fitting into that, because that goes exactly in a similar sequence of the logic which has been existing earlier. Some little bit of weightage change is what is all done in there.
So, thank you, sir. So, apart from the several changes that are visible, that are available in the old SAR versus new SAR, say whether it is a capstone project or sustainability, everything, many things coming to. The only major concern is with respect to the philosophy, what you quoted about at the basic level, wherein initially I designed the course, the outcomes, and I fitted some content into the course, and I had mapped it with respect to my PO 12. Now the same courses, the same course outcomes, now they have to be remapped to P11, or should we show as it is, and we have to tell that we will be implementing this new course articulation matrix or program articulation from, say, next academic year?
Yeah.
That was the basic question, sir.
Not to take it as an official version, but most of the time, I mean, that's what I said in the beginning. There is a parallel awareness camp going on in Delhi for the evaluators on the new criterion. And most of the time, I still remember in 2010 and 14, when substantial changes happened, all of us have been told to tune ourselves to receive the stakeholders' information. That would definitely be there. You don't need to worry about that. It will always be the transition period will always be amicable transition. It will not be a cut and dry transition as you are fearing. It will not happen like that.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay, let's go ahead. So
Yes,
when it comes to SFR, you know the criterion for award of marks. It ranges from 15 to 25, 25 with no score, and 15 the ideal score for colleges like ours in 20 marks out of the 24 SFR. Well, of course, anything better than this is always better. I think I'm making sense in that statement with whatever I have said. So this is what is the answer to the first query which you have made. This is including N2 designates the lateral entry activity which we are capable of doing there. The first factor in students' number will be taken as the sanctioned intake, and the second number would be the lateral entry seats which are actually filled. We will not be taking it as 10% of 120 as 12. It will be actually filled. If you have filled only 5, it will stay only as 5. Am I making sense there? And if you have had more supernumerary seats, which you have asked me, those supernumerary seats will not be counted, or if at all it is to be counted, it will be limited to 10% of your sanctioned intake. So the additional seats will be 120 plus 12 maximum. Am I clear? Am I clear in working out the total number of students? Fine. So when it comes to the faculty strength, we have already talked in a different context. Whosoever is available as regular faculty with the department for the academic activity will only be counted as faculty for that particular program. Well, of course, when it comes to PG and UG, fine. We will, because on date, we don't have any separation between, because the number of students would be counted for the UG and PG together. So therefore, both these faculty members whom you were asking me for dedicated for PG will also be figuring here. But when it comes to the contractual faculty, the type of contractual faculty who would be considered will be people who have worked continuously for 2 semesters or available full time for that particular academic year only will be considered. A person who is a temporary faculty on hourly basis, or even the adjunct or professor emeritus or professor of practice who are kept over there will not be counted until they have a substantial academic contribution. Am I making it clear? Okay. When it comes to faculty cadre ratio, it is only reaffirmation of the faculty cadre which is available in your department: professor, associate professor, and assistant professor, and to a cadre ratio of 1:2:6. So all that is what is being checked. And if you have the calculation mode is cadre ratio marks would be on a simple numerical computation subject to a maximum of 25 marks, and 1:2:6 cadre ratio is what is being asserted, and accordingly from this numerical computation you get the marks like this. Well, of course, if professor and associate professors are absent in the department or actually present in the department, then we will not be getting any credit in the faculty cadre proportion. A department with only AF3 assistant professors will not be getting any marks there. Number two, the RF1, RF2 and RF3 are computed based on the required number of faculty members based on the student strength, which we have already declared in criterion 4. Am I clear? Or in the penultimate tabulation. Is it fine?
Excuse me, sir.
Please.
Sir, I have just one question.
Please.
Sir, as per the qualification, who faculty member will be counted if they are BSc, MSc, then MTech, and then PhD? Will they be counted? Or if someone is BSc, MSc, or BSc, MCA, and PhD, so will they be, or BTech, MTech, and PhD only?
There are two parts to that question. Qualification is the next criterion.
Okay, sir.
Should I answer there or here itself? Fine. I will answer here.
There. Okay.
RF1 or RF1 is considered to be the actual number of professors present in the department. And all professors are expected to have the qualification as prescribed by ICT into getting into a professor. Your sheer designating somebody as a professor will not be considered as a professor. Similarly, for associate professor, whatever qualification of associate professor, PhD with X number of years of experience, whatever is prescribed by ICT will have to be adhered to. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
So majority of the time your question is valid, because many of the colleges, if you go there, a BTech person will be designated as a professor, and then you would be fighting with the evaluator. There is no point in fighting there. He or she will not be able to give you any credit unless and until the person possesses the prescribed qualification for a professor or an associate professor. I think I'm making it clear.
Yes,
Number
exactly.
Number two, part of the question which you have asked, I've just flipped the slide. The question which you have asked is that the MCA programs which you are offering maybe in computer science department will not be counted. The people who are teaching MCA will not be counted as faculty for your engineering programs. I think I'm making it clear, because what is prescribed in the manual is that all such programs, BCA or MCA, which are offered parallel to the BTech computer science, should have adequate faculty members to offer those programs. There cannot be a crisscrossing of the faculty for BCA, BTech, and MCA, MTech. You might be saying that it is wasteful presentation of the resources, but the fact is that BCA, MCA will have to have standalone faculty members to meet the qualification requirements there, essentially because BCA requires only an MCA faculty, whereas their presence in a computer science department for BTech is not acceptable. I think I'm making it clear.
Yes, sir. Sir, my question was basically in our engineering department, that means we are running computer science and engineering department for BTech course. And if some faculty members are here who are having qualification BSc, MSc, MTech, and PhD.
Yeah.
This one is the qualification chain they have. Yeah. Or they have BSc, MCA, or BCA, MCA with PhD. Are they eligible to be counted as faculty in the computer science and engineering department or not?
The flat answer is no, essentially because AICT does not prescribe a qualification chain called BSc, MSc, PhD as a professor in a computer science department.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Fine. So that is what I was making explicitly clear. A faculty member will be called in his own designation only if he is possessing the qualification prescribed by AICTE. So no other qualification can be designated as a professor or associate professor or an assistant professor in the engineering department. Is it fine?
Sir, sorry to interrupt, sir.
Yes, sir, clear.
But AICTE in the year 2022 has allowed MCA and PhD candidates to be assistant professor in computer science and engineering department, sir. There is a circular by AICTE to that effect.
Yeah, if it is accepted by AICTE in any point of time, that is acceptable. But the definite point which I said is that the person with a particular qualification prescribed by AICTE can only be counted as a faculty in an engineering department.
Okay, okay.
Okay. So when it comes to the faculty qualification, fine, you understand it well. It is only a simple numerical translation subject to a maximum of 25 marks. This is about the faculty retention. In this particular sub-criterion, there is a change in the new in the new format, but only the computation is changed, but otherwise substantially there is no change. What is said here in the existing scheme is that more than 90% of the faculty retained, you will get 25 marks. If only less than 50% of the faculty members retained in CAY M2 -2 base year, then you get a 0 marks. This is a range of marks for the faculty retention. Well, the counting of faculty retention is something like this. And then we find that the number of faculty members retained in a particular year is calculated as the average of the two. Am I clear? Then the marks translation is based on the percentage of faculty members retained during that particular assessment year. Fine. Then 5.5 is coming to very closely touching the faculty members' activity. So teaching is considered to be one of the primary activities, whereby if the faculty member has innovated in teaching learning process, that has 20 marks. Well, of course, I would say that it is subjective, but based on sound proof of such activities. Say, for example, a faculty member is free to get into a project-based learning program or the project-based activities and things of that kind with a larger weightage. Well, of course, it is possible only with tier 1 type of institutions, where if you are affiliated in tier 2, you would be having less flexibility for these kind of things. But NITs and tier 1 institutions, whosoever is having a capability, how good are we in exploring these kind of innovation is what is assessed as part of this sub criterion. Coming to the faculty members' participation in short-term training programs or faculty development programs, what is counted there as a benchmark is that a person can score only 5 marks. It counts onto all the faculty members. A person can count a maximum of 5 points in a year, and the participation of a minimum 1 week program, that means 5 days faculty development program, can fetch you 5 points, or anything lesser than that, 2 to 3 days of 5 days of FDP can fetch you 3 marks. So every faculty member has a capability to have 5 points maximum, and counting and taking the average depending on the number of faculty members, counting 0.5 of the required faculty members is the formula translation, subject to a maximum of 50 is the marking scheme there. Is it fine? Well, when it comes to the next item, which has 30 marks associated with it, the first sub criterion is 5.7.1 is proof of academic research in terms of the publications, and there also the counting score is something like this. Every faculty member will get, or the points which we face during the evaluation most of the time are something like this. Multiple authors of the same department, mind it, for a single work only 1 credit will be given. So a faculty member will get one of the faculty members will get the credit in terms of the department. Multiple authors from the same department may not be in a position to duplicate that work. And the number of PhD guided and PhD awarded during that time, the simple, although you might ask me what is a benchmark, the simple benchmark is that at least one quality paper in an SCA journal or a refereed journal per year is good enough a standard benchmark. So that is the objectivity with which people look at it. But the assessment pattern is not numerical in nature, it is subjective in nature. It is the kind of paper which you have published, and the gravity of, say, for example, somebody publishes in IEEE and coming up with a very high impact factor. The evaluator is also a teacher, mind it, he will give the required credit to it. Well, when it comes to sponsored projects, the marking system is something like this. Any project by any of the national or international funding agency for more than 20 lakhs, you will get 5 marks. A faculty member will get 5 marks. And similarly, the depending on the amount, it is objectively assigned the marks. Is it fine? Well, of course, all these things ultimately will go to the number of faculty members in the denominator. Fine. When it comes to another criterion, this is again a subjective criterion. I would put it this way, because there is no numerical computation which is associated with it. How effectively you would be able to, I'm sorry, how effectively we would be in a position to prove the innovation and developmental activities in a department is what is assessed here. The presence of the research labs, or even development of instructional materials or working models, or the presence of makers lab and product development over there, they are all counted under these developmental activities, and they are fairly given a weightage depending on the dynamics and the vibrance which the department possesses in respect of such developmental activities. Well, again, similar to the sponsored project, a project, consultancy project, more than 2 lakhs is what is given a weightage, and more than 10 lakhs, you get 5 out of 5 for individual faculty members, and then it will go to the number of faculty members in the department. Fine. Fine. This is about the systemic approach in evaluating the faculty performance. This is what kind of a faculty performance appraisal system which is existing in the department, what kind of remedial activities which take place. As part of that, they are evaluated based on whether, if you have a well-defined system. Majority of the time, if you go to a government institution, they would say that, sir, APAR is existing. Fine. APAR is a governmental system in which it is a generic performer. How customized is our APAR to evaluate the academic performance of the faculty member is what is normally looked at. Having used the government academic or annual performance appraisal report is not going to give us a weightage. So see to it that we have come up with some kind of an innovative appraisal system whereby the academic contribution in terms of the teaching learning and the AICT's 360-degree feedback and things of that kind, which are all incorporated into the FPADS which we are talking about. Well, the major weightage, 2/3 of the weightage, 20 marks to is assigned to its implementation and effectiveness. Even if we are finding many of the places when we go, we find the feedback is taken and it is lying in the HOD's office. So if that is the case, it is as good as not taken. So what is all said is that how effective is the strategy for improving the system based on the faculty assessment or appraisal which is taken. Well, this is it includes professor of practice POP. Then the only point which is made over there is that they are counted as adjunct or emeritus or professor of practice present in the department if they are available to the department for a minimum of 50 hours, and every 50 hours in a year will get 3 marks for the department, and 3 into 3 is total 9, and the sheer provision of a policy for having such kind of visiting or adjunct or emeritus or POP in the department will give you 1 mark. Is it fine? Shall I go ahead? Fine.
Sir, in this line, can the lectures be handled online by the faculty?
As such, there is no explicit statement on that. But what is actually required, the philosophy behind the availability of a visiting or an adjunct or an emeritus professor is looking at the gravity of that particular person. And the person gives a lecture online, that will be considered as your professional activities along with the students' professional activities. But here, say for example, if I make a statement on, some of you must have come to know that Professor C.R. Rao has been awarded the Nobel Prize. He is 102 years old. And even today, he is present in his university. He is not teaching, he is not a regular faculty member, but he is an emeritus professor in that particular department. His sheer presence makes the faculty members, younger faculty members, as well as the scholars to take advantage of his presence. And that is what is the concept of emeritus or adjunct professor. It is not somebody comes online and gives a lecture and goes away. It has very limited impact. So therefore, if I'm the assessor, I will not give a assessment towards that. I would look at it as a part activity of the students' professional society. Whereas the presence of a senior faculty member in the department, although he is not teaching, therefore he will not figure in the F which we have considered earlier. AF he is not part of, but this 10 marks is given for the matured leadership in academic teaching learning, which is available in the department. I think I'm making the point clear.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Since it is 50 hours of engagement,
yeah, he has to be
quantification of this and evidence-based quantification is very much essential, or
Yeah, it
what is
is
expected
required.
is philosophy?
It is required. It is required. Say,
Yes.
for example, his presence in the department, and say, for example, in one of the institutions, a colleague of mine had asked even for the flight ticket, which you have offered to him. Show me the flight ticket by which the person has come. Because the person, he is not a policeman, but at the same time, he is supposed to ascertain that and enter this mark. So he will not go just by the sheer mention of this. He would say that what kind of an advantage the people have got out of that. Mind it, all these activities are part and parcel of the quality perspective with which we are marching forward.
Yes.
Is it fine?
Thank
Okay.
you, sir.
When it comes to the facilities and technical support, there are three distinct issues, but the first and the foremost issue is that, do we really have well-equipped labs to take care of the courses which we have proposed as part of our outcome? See, for example, in a program-specific outcome, somebody can always say that after having done this course, the student would be able to able to manage a modern software system in maybe in structural analysis in civil engineering, and you don't have the software, and you don't have the laboratory facility. Then the natural question comes, how did you evaluate this outcome? You say that after having done this course, he would be in a position to do analysis using StatPro. You don't have a StatPro, you don't have a lab. That is what is precisely looked up to in this particular 6.1, where whether you have well-equipped labs to meet the requirements of the course outcome which we have projected. Number two, do we have adequate number of labs to meet the course outcomes specified? And the third thing is that, are our labs managed well, or do we have technical manpower to support the lab activity? To be very blunt, if you don't take it offensive, majority of the colleges, when we reach, see, I go to the machine lab, so immediately there will be a messenger sent to the strength of SOM lab in mechanical. Oh, yaar, usko bula ke le aao. Because there is only one person in the department who is acting as a technical staff. Mind it, the activity is substandard with that. Every lab, at least there has to be a technical person who is qualified to meet the requirements of that lab. That is the bare minimum requirement which is prescribed. Well, when it goes to the workshops in one of the colleges, with my experience, I can share my experience where I had gone. We went to the machine shop. We asked the technical assistant who was standing there, what is your qualification? Sir, I have done fitting. Or nahi hai to I had done foundry. That kind of a qualification mismatch is also not going to give us any advantage. A person who is technically qualified in meeting the requirements of that lab is a minimum requirement. And that is the precise reason why his designation as well as qualification is asked. And every time I'm particularly fascinated by this column. That's why I have specifically put that column. What is the utilization of a lab? Majority of the time where we had gone to, say, for example, the tinkering lab or the maker space, you have taken a credit that we have something of this kind. When I look at the logbook, I find that hardly anybody visits that particular facility. then the purpose is defeated. That is what is made a mention of. This is what is the entire purpose of 6.1. So the entire background with which 6.1 will be looked up to is this. This is what indirectly I have said. What are the additional facilities which we have created in improving the learning experience? Quoting the same experience which I have said earlier. If I have purchased Start Pro software and created a computer lab in civil engineering department for software practices in civil engineering, fine. Even if it is not part and parcel of my university syllabus or my own curriculum, I have done something extra. I have improved the learning experience of my students. In one of the colleges, the teacher had claimed that, sorry, there is no gender bias. She had taken a class on network analysis using MATLAB. And unfortunately, when we asked her, ma'am, do we have MATLAB in our department? No, sir, it's in the process. So the entire thing fumbles there. So what is all said in 6.2 is that what are the additional facilities? The 6.1 was the bare minimum required to meet the COs. Number 2, 6.2 is what are the additional facilities which we have created, irrespective of whether it is there in the course curriculum or not. We get a credit of 25 marks. And well, of course, there also we are expected to prove the utility and enhanced learning experience which the learner has, and its relevance to POs and PSOs. Well, this 6.3 is basically something which many of us normally fumble with. We normally talk about maintenance as absolute cleanliness. I have a joke to share. I'm from civil engineering background. We had gone to a concrete laboratory, as many of you, some of you who are from civil engineering background. And why should there be not the cement dust present in the lab? So when we had gone to the lab where cement concrete is being tested, it was made crystal clear, saaf karke pura saaf karke chhod diya hai. And finally we asked the lab in charge, are we really using this equipment? So that should not be the practice. It has to be well maintained and clean, not the kind of the absolute cleanliness to which we come around. Say, for example, with the same kind of a laboratory, we have cube testing in civil engineering labs. And if I come to your lab and find all the broken cubes are scattered around in the lab, that shows a shabby appearance to me. It has to be well cleared from the lab. It should not be something like a dust-free lab as required in maybe solid state physics lab. That is not the requirement of lathe CNC lab or concrete lab kind of a thing. So what is all said is it should not be shabby. It has to be maintained. Adding to that, it has to be calibrated if you claim that you have a lot of consultancies going on, and the annual maintenance of the equipment will have to be in position. Well, 6.4, well, of course, it is not having a very high rating, but it is something which you can very easily score when it comes to, when I enter into your shoes and talking about it. A project lab is nothing but where the students or the learners are free to perform their experiments beyond their curriculum in the form of a project based activity. And that's what is the proof which normally we produce with respect of the maker space or tinkering lab and things of that kind. Well,
Sir, with respect to project laboratory,
yeah,
whether it should be program specific, or say every program should have individual project labs?
Yeah, that is what is normally ideal. Say, for example, the computer lab which you have created. I'm just taking a small flat example. You have created an advanced computer lab where your BTech students are given an exclusive space for using those softwares for their project activities. That could be projected as a project lab for the individual program which you are talking about.
So, but if there is a case wherein, for example, let us take mechanical engineering, our workshops are very, they're very large in space.
Fine, fine.
But whatever is required to the curriculum or syllabus, half part of the workshop, I use it for the curriculum activities, regular laboratories.
Right.
Remaining empty space, which it is a part of the workshop, but I house few high-end equipment, say like some 3D printing, 3D printer, and I allow it to students. But can I call that space as a project laboratory?
Yeah, the conceptual frame with which we look at it is that the facility which you have created, it's not the exclusive laboratory people are going to look up to. The kind of facilities which you have created, which are otherwise not conventionally required for your academic activity, which can be used for beyond the curriculum activities by the student. And we will have to have a proof. That is why I have normally said keep a logbook and ask the students who are coming for performing their 3D printing or the project-based activities to record there, so that it is easy for you to prove that such kind of a facility is used for beyond the curriculum activity. So it's not the space. You don't need to worry that whether you have used a part of your workshop with no restriction to the or no limitation to the activities of the workshop. If you are using that space, similar is the situation with my own college. In fact, last week I told the HOD of mechanical engineering, why are you wasting this space? This is acceptable, but the only thing is that we have to prove that this is something which has gone beyond the conventional curriculum, and the learner is really taking advantage of that space which you have created. I'm not saying that you should have an exclusive lab for that or exclusive room for that, but this is a facility which you have created. And if you can demarcate it and show that this is only for this kind of an activity, then you can always call it as a project laboratory.
So, thank you, sir. Extension of that question, like we have in the campus, lab, project labs wherein like formula car making, solar car making, like huge big projects wherein students from different streams, different disciplines, they work together in developing, like formula car. Can those be considered as this project laboratories?
Fine, I have made it implicit in the previous answer that whatever facility, wherever it is existing, if you are able to prove that your learner has actively used that facility and made use of it in his project activity, that is acceptable.
So that project means it is final major project or capstone project.
You don't need to explicitly quote it. Say, for example, when I was talking about the innovation, you as a teacher has the freedom, if it is a tier 1 institution, to decide your own evaluation policy. You might say that I'm going to teach, say, for example, machine design. Part of it is product development. And 50% of the weightage I'm going to attach with the student working on CNC machine and getting a product derived out of it. Can it not be a project called? You don't need to call it as a capstone or a minor project or major project, but anything which comes beyond their conventional curriculum, which comes out to be a separate activity which the student is capable of taking up himself and performing it, that is a project activity.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
6.5 talks about the safety issues. Majority of the time, the parameters on the basis of which we look up to this is a minimal first aid availability, the fire extinguishers, or the safety of handling chemicals. Most of the time in chemistry lab, you would be finding that people do acid titration and drain it down the sink. So that is what is being looked up to in this. All necessary safety precautions of any laboratory is to be present in that laboratory, or even making a mention of what are the safety precautions to be followed in that particular lab is also part of the safety measures. Well, as it is already said in case of the previous explanation also, this is also a subjective evaluation. How effectively you would be able to prove that your safety measures are in position is what is important. Most of the time, you would be finding a fire safety measure which is rusted, not working, or even the fire extinguishers are refilled only on the previous day. They all talk about the inadequacy in the normal practice of that particular lab. And if you don't have a standard practice in respect of handling hazardous waste or biological or chemical waste in the respective laboratories, they are all part and parcel of this particular evaluation. Fine. When it comes to criterion 7, it is about continuous improvement, and in the new SAR, it goes as number 8, because faculty information and faculty contribution are bifurcated into criterion 5 and 6, and facility technical support would remain as 7, and 8 is the continuous improvement. And the weightage of 8 in the new SAR would be 80 in place of 50, which is here. What is actually looked up to is most of the time people tend to say that we have purchased this equipment, that equipment in the last 3 years. We have made this much of an expenditure in terms of the lab procurement and things of that kind. Mind it, what is actually looked at to is the action taken based on the evaluation of the attainment of POs and PSOs. When it comes to, you will have to prove it with what we have done in our criterion 3. Criterion 3, we have made an attainment evaluation, and there we have said that this kind of lacuna is existing, and what we have actually done to counter or circumdo that kind of an ambiguity or that kind of an inadequacy in the POs or PSOs attainment is what is looked up to this. Sheer literary statements of we added Falana equipment, we added XYZ equipment into the lab will not suffice. That is what is said. We will have to prove it with a tabulation that the target level and this is the attainment level, and this is what is to be done. That is what is done in attainment assessment of attainment in criterion 3, and what action I have taken in respect of these observations which are figuring in criterion 3 is what is to be listed here. Well, in 7.2, what are the innovations which you could do? A fair deal of it is in terms of an internal or external or both academic audit which can be done in their system for continuous improvement, and again the numerical computation in respect of improvement in placement or higher studies or entrepreneurship, which are direct proof of the attainment of the POs. Am I making sense there? Fine. We move to the again 7.4 talks about a simple numerical assessment. The national score with which the students get into your institute, opening and closing rank of admission, would give us an indirect indication of your quality enhancement. So that is what is said in 7.4. When it comes to criterion 8, what is left over there is exactly similar to 2 and 3, which you have done in terms of the assessment of attainment of the POs and PSOs. Well, of course, here we have the POs in respect of the first year courses. Well, 8.1, we have already explained it in the previous case. All those faculty members who are completely dedicated to the first year courses would figure in will be designated as first year faculty, and based on their presence and the entire number of students in the first year, we would have the student faculty ratio evaluated. And if there is a slight change here, if the FYSFR is greater than 25, you will not get any score. But if it is less than that, you get 5 marks. Is it fine? The marking on the basis of formula is available here. So you will be able to make a computation based on your SFR and the counting. So what we consider is 20 as the benchmarking. With that, limiting value of 5 is what is added. Is it fine?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then again, when it comes to first year, again we go back to the same kind of an assessment in respect of the faculty qualification, where of course we have the pure science qualification, the PhD, or the postgraduate qualification, as the case may be. Then working out the faculty qualification based on the required number of faculty members, based on the total number of students, and 20:1 as the SFR. Is it fine? Okay, you will get a score subject to maximum of 5 there. Then the first year academic performance of the students is again based on the CGPA or the percentage marks the students secure during the first year activity, and translating it into API, academic performance index, the number of students actually passed divided by the total number of students appeared in the examination into the mean of the grade point average. So that average of which will give you the API in terms of on the numerical score of 10. So whatever score which you get over here would be the numerical score for the first year academic performance. Exactly similar to the criterion 4, where we have considered the entire batch of students in the program. Here, what is considered is only in respect of people who clear the first year. And it is important, or moving to the second year, it is important. Many of us understand that first year is a bottleneck for many of the students, because majority of the mathematics and physics and even chemistry figures over there, which will be a Herculean task for many of the students, and the pass percentage in the first year is looked up to as an academic performance. So,
sir, here I have a doubt.
please.
Different institutes or different types of institutes, where tier 1 or tier 2,
Yeah.
Especially in tier 1s, they have different methodologies of calling this criteria pass to the second year.
Mhm.
Some institutes allow even with 4 backlogs also to go to the second year.
Mhm.
So how do we generalize this? What is considered as pass to the second year?
On date, what is normally done is whatever your, especially for the affiliating institutions, whatever your degree awarding university says is what is done.
Okay.
But definitely, when it comes to that, will get reflected here because he will not be having a very high CGPA.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, in your total score, always he will create a problem for you.
Hmm.
Whereas all those who have passed with the minimum of, say, for example, in our institute, we keep 5 as a minimum benchmark.
Hmm.
4.5 is with a warning. So,
Hmm.
10 students with 4.5 is going to kill my CGPA, average CGPA of the batch.
Hmm.
So definitely you will be having an effect of his presence in the API which you are calculating.
Hmm. Hmm.
Earlier there was a criterion of without back paper and things of that kind.
Hmm.
And even in the new new SAR, the concept which is borrowed is whosoever is going to the second year, whosoever is permitted to move to the second year by the degree awarding institution.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Fine. Okay. When it comes to the 8.4.1 and 4.2, it is exactly similar to what we have done in case of the CO's assessment in criterion 3. So it is a duplication of it, but specifically with respect to the first year courses. The problem which I have seen in many of the institutions is that the first year and the applied science department is having a completely different operational strategy from the department. So this criterion warrants the department to have a very close liaison with the applied science department. Otherwise, 8 is going to create a problem for us. Well, of course, it is 50 marks, but 8 is going to create a problem for us. So one of the practical suggestions which I have is that majority of the departmental program accreditation in evaluation activity, I have seen that department has done a wonderful job in respect of the CO attainment assessment and so on and so forth. But when it has come to the first year, they fumble with. Either the maths, chemistry, and physics teachers are not interested, or they are not clear about the concept, or you have not taken the trouble of informing them that this is how it has to be done. Mind it, their performance is also equally going to affect our activity. So 8.4.2 is exactly similar to 3.2.2. Then this is again similar to what we have done there. We have the direct assessment and indirect direct assessment of the attainment and indirect assessment of the attainment. And well, of course, indirect assessment, one of the institutions I have seen that the performance or moving to the second year, they have taken it as a attainment. Fine, I found it absolutely logical because they don't need to wait till he passes out in the final year. Here itself, he says, fine, he's able to solve it. Or the performance in the second year, after having gone from here and he has taken up a course on thermodynamics and have performed very well. And the maths teacher can always take the or having his scholars up by saying that the second order differential equation which he has learned from me has given him the benefit there. So that way, innovatively, you can look at the evaluation strategies in respect of the direct assessment and indirect assessment. So then again, going back to what I have said in continuous evaluation, this is something which we'll have to come up with the first year academics. There is a purpose there. majority of the institutions or in the universities, it is found that there is a large scale failure in respect of the first year courses, especially maths and chemistry. When it comes to what kind of remedial action which we have proposed or we have undertaken in our institution is important, and that is what is being looked up to in 8.5 about the first year academics, since the time is up, and I'm sitting in a place where the entire road is going to be blocked after 3 o'clock. Well, of course, I will wait through. Wishing you all a very happy puja and forthcoming Diwali. Thank you very much. That's about the criterion 5 to 8. In case if you have any specific query, we can address that.
Sir, in this news, sir,
Yeah.
there is a mention of both slow learner and advanced learner concepts as well as mentor-mentee concepts.
Yeah.
So, how to differentiate them exactly? Whether slow learner and advanced learner should be specific to only academics, and mentor-mentee should be specific to only the non-academics. How exactly it is, sir?
No, mentor-mentee. I'll start from the last. The mentor-mentee concept is an internationally acclaimed concept, which was expected to have been part and parcel of our academic activity. Well, where, say, for example, in the institution where from I'm coming, we used to have 5 students attached with a teacher. And every month, at least once, the teacher is expected to meet these students. And they can discuss freely their problems, whether it is their personal problem or academic problem or whatsoever they want to, they can convey to this teacher. A success story I can talk about: a student who was slightly depressed in the system was identified by this mentor, and her name was passed to the counselor, and the student counseling cell has tried to approach her and taken care of her difficulty. And another example was that the students in the first year has told the departmental faculty, sir, the maths teacher is slightly too hi-fi. He is not making much of a sense in our standards, and or it is mere repetition of whatever we have been doing in our coaching centers. Either it has to be tuned or modified, whatsoever it is. Then immediately the department has approached the applied science department or the maths department and asked them to tune their course so that it is beneficial to the students. So that is what is about the mentor-mentee. It could be both academic as well as personal. Because on date, the conceptually, even the statutory bodies warrant that we should have a mentor-mentee system in position so as to take care of the mental health of the students also, apart from academics. That is about the mentor-mentee issue. Well, coming to the slow learners and the fast learners, it is an equipment of the departmental system whereby the sufficient challenge is given to the fast learner, because otherwise he gets bored in your class. When you approach the slow learners onto a larger scale, he gets bored in your class and he loses his entire academic interest. Similarly, when it comes to the slow learner, if you go to the level of the high learner, it will be gone. But certainly, as an academic mentor, you will have to do a very, very subtle, careful job whereby there is no discrimination explicitly seen. Say, for example, when we were there in IITs, IIT has a system of having remedial courses for the slow learners. Even now it is there. They continue to support the faculty members to take classes for the slow learners beyond the regular academic hours. And I can vouch for it. It was a successful experiment. I'm talking about during our time in early 90s. it was a very, very successful activity. And that is the kind of duplication which the decision makers or the policy makers in the academic planning of the country is trying to bring in, whereby we should have a subtle or a careful way by which segregation is made and sufficient challenge is given to the fast learner, and taking care of the deficiencies of or going for a remedial activity for a slow learner.
Thank you, sir.
And that is being assessed. Thank you very much.